On this episode of Exactly How, we're going to show you how to find and renovate commercial properties, how to find a unique type of commercial property that could be the best investment you can make, and how to find these properties while you're just walking your neighborhood on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Connected Investors podcast and YouTube show, Exactly How. My name is Ross Hamilton. I'm the host and the CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com. And today you're going to discover exactly how to renovate run-down commercial properties. Rundown commercial properties. Today we have the privilege to learn from a guy who inspires confidence and trust really with everyone he meets when he's working through the real estate investing process. And you're going to probably feel a lot of that throughout this show. Prior to his career in real estate, he financed film and television. Really interesting. But all of that changed, as fun and as interesting as that was, when he decided to finally jump into the business that he always wanted to do. It was very liberating for him to become a real estate investor. I would describe our guest as kind of the contrarian real estate pioneer. His name is Malcolm Silver, and today he's going to explain exactly how to renovate rundown commercial properties. Malcolm, thank you so very much for spending time with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. You know, before we dive into exactly how to renovate rundown commercial properties, Malcolm, you contribute a lot of your success to trusting your gut and following through until the end. Why do you think that's played such an important role in your success?
I think when you're buying a property, a lot of it's a mixture of art and science, and where the two meet, then you've got to decide eventually what your gut tells you. And it's just a feeling as to whether a building is good and whether it's bad. Like, you can look at the numbers and go through it from top to bottom, but in the end, you've got to feel good that this is a property that you can make into a winner.
Yeah, you know, and following your gut is something that just seems like a saying. But Malcolm, it wasn't too long ago I listened to a podcast about your stomach and how it actually has more connections than your brain. It's a second brain, your stomach. Really interesting stuff. So following your gut is a lot more than a saying. There's actually some intelligence there and all that bacteria you have in your stomach. Anyway, that's a conversation for another podcast, but it definitely got my mind thinking. Now, for everyone who's new, what makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast unique is every show comes with a detailed action plan where we pull the information out of our guests' heads and give you kind of a 3-step process on how you can implement a proven wealth building strategy. So to get the show notes, if you're driving, you don't have to worry about taking notes. To get the show notes, access to the gifts that Malcolm's going to give you and that we're going to give you, all you have to do is visit exactlyhow.com. And when you visit that site, you can also throw your name into the hat to win our $3,000 deal finding software that helps you find motivated sellers. And actually the new version has a lot of commercial properties tied into it as well. It's our flagship software, and we're going to give it away to one of the lucky listeners here today. So Malcolm, I just want to jump right into it. Let's go ahead and really, for someone who is brand new, let's define really what a commercial, I'm sorry, I've never messed up there before, but they have a really weird thing plugged in there for my script. All right. Before we jump in, for those of you that are just brand new to real estate, can you just really define, commercial properties? Is that a triplex, a duplex? Is that an old Waffle House? Like, can you just explain some of what a commercial property is?
A commercial property for me is a building with typically a store on the main floor and one or two levels of apartments up above. That's a typical commercial property for me. It's not a building that is all residential. So it could also be a factory or a warehouse, but that's not the area that I delve into. For me, commercial property is typically retail on the main floor and apartments up above.
So that's your niche within the commercial space.
Absolutely.
You can go in so many different directions with commercial properties.
Yeah. But that's the niche that I've chosen. So
Yeah.
I don't buy factories. I don't buy warehouses. I don't buy apartment buildings. I don't buy houses. This is what I buy.
Nice. And how long have you been buying these types of properties, and how many transactions roughly have you done?
I bought my first building in '02, and since then I've probably bought about 15 properties in total. Maybe closing in on 20 now.
Great. And it's really, yeah, it's a good niche you have carved out for yourself with that specific type of commercial property. So let's go ahead and jump right into the steps to kind of finding these properties. Before we started the podcast, we broke down the 3 steps into finding the properties, into running the numbers, and then into buying it. So Malcolm, if you can share with me a little bit on how you're able to find these properties, and you're all about finding properties that are in some sort of distress. So how are you finding these types of commercial properties in today's hyper-competitive market?
These properties you find in a combination of ways. First of all, you alert agents to what it is that you want. The second thing you do is you become a street walker. You walk areas until you see the kind of thing that you like that's clearly offering that you think could offer opportunity, and then you talk to other people. You talk to other owners, and you talk to other storekeepers. You ask what's going on in the neighborhood. Who's looking to move? Why is there change here? And then the other thing that you look for is transit. Look how close you are to transit, what the transit is going to become like. These are look for areas that you can see, where you can see the canary in the coal mine for a rising area. Typically something like a Starbucks moving in, or you know that then a light rail train is going to come through, or a subway is going to come through. These are so it's a combination of factors. There's no one thing.
Gotcha. So you basically look for areas that you can walk, so you stay pretty close to your location that you're in, your own town.
Typically, yeah. I typically stay within 1 hour's drive of the office. And
nice.
Typically, I've always stayed within Toronto, where I'm based. And now I'm finding that Toronto is now becoming too expensive. Now I'm buying in Hamilton, and Hamilton offers exactly the kinds of things that I like. It's a rundown area. Clearly, there's a lot of development. There's a lot happening. There's new transit coming in, or new employers coming in, and there's old property there that has been run down and neglected over the years. That's the kind of thing that I like.
Now, why do you also like these properties where there's retail on the bottom and residential on the second or third or fourth floor?
I like commercial because I like dealing with business people. I like having business people as tenants, and I don't really like having residential people as tenants. And I feel also when you're dealing with a commercial tenant, so the rents can increase, and they're much less protected than a residential tenant is. And so if there's a problem with getting the rent paid, it's easier to deal with a commercial tenant than it is with a residential tenant here anyway.
Gotcha. But your buildings seem to have a little bit of a mix. Is your sweet spot like part residential, part commercial? Does the commercial cover the cost of the whole building, and then the residential is the the cream on top for you to profit off of? Is that how you kind of set things up?
No, you need to have both. They all contribute to the overall profitability of the building. You couldn't survive just on the store on its own. I couldn't anyway.
Yeah, gotcha. I didn't know if we had a billboard guy here the other day who was saying one side covers the his rents and everything, and the other side is where all of his profits are. So when he has his two faces. So I didn't know if that's how you ran your business as well.
Wish it was.
Yeah, yeah. So any other tips on finding these properties? I mean, keeping your eyes open is definitely important. But anything else that you found that really helps you find the best deals?
No, I think the most important thing is to walk the streets and look for properties and look for things. And the next most important thing is to talk to agents, because agents know what's going on. And they'll send you stuff, and you just have to keep looking and looking until you find what it is that you like. There's no magic to it.
Yeah. Do you use sites like LoopNet at all, or any online sites to help point you in the right direction? I guess you're in Toronto, so you might not even have LoopNet.
I don't use them at all. No, I use agents and I walk the streets.
There you go.
Talk to people.
Yeah.
That seems to work. Seems to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great. So that's how you're able to find these canary in the coal mine, right? These good potential deals. You're keeping your eyes open and you're having conversations with agents and with the community to kind of see what's going on. And you're looking for those markets where there is some good appreciation.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right. So you find one of these deals. You have to contact the owner, I suppose, in some way. Do you have any tips on how to find the owners of these buildings, or because they're commercially owned, it's relatively easy?
Oh, you can look it up. It's straightforward. Typically, I will be going through an agent, and if I'll find a property that I like, I'll ask the agent to contact the owner. The agent draws up the offer, and we make it, and then we go forward from there, and we do the fighting.
Gotcha. You can just cut through all the clutter that way. Our previous podcast we did, Malcolm, the individual was helping listeners figure out which strategy was right for them based on how much time they had, how much money they had, and where their credit was. And for any of you who, you don't have a lot of time, but you have some money and some decent credit, this is a great model to where you don't have to run around like crazy competing for those fix and flip deals out there. So let's talk about the most important part of all of this really is running the numbers, figuring out if a deal is a deal, because just because it's a building that's listed doesn't mean it's going to be profitable. So how do you run the numbers?
I run the numbers. I come up with the price at the end. So what I do is I have a pro forma. I put in what I feel the rents will be, and that I get from my knowledge of what's going on the street and talking to agents and talking to other owners, and then I come up with a bottom line. I estimate what the costs are going to be, and I can see what the net cash flow is going to be, and then from there I'll use a multiple of that to work back to assessing what I consider to be a fair price, and then you start the negotiation process with the seller. You make the offer and you see where you end up.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it. And I do that with every single building I look at.
I guess with your background in finance, that's probably second nature to you to run those type of numbers and have a pro forma and stuff like that. For someone who's watching this that doesn't really have the same knack for numbers, how would you recommend someone that hasn't been in finance try to figure out the numbers?
Hire somebody who does know how to work with numbers. Hire an accountant. Doesn't cost that much, and that's what you need to do. You've got to have the numbers straight. You can't go into it on a blind basis. So if you don't know how to run numbers, that's fine. There are other people that do, and there's no magic to it. It's once you've done it a couple of times, it becomes fairly straightforward. It's just the assumptions are what you need to get right. What kind of rent is going to you're going to be able to bring in, and how much you'll be able to increase that rent over the years, and if you're able to increase the rent, then the value of the building will rise. These are the things you have to look at now: how much it's going to cost to run the building, what the taxes are going to be, and the utilities. That's it.
Yeah, I think based on something you said earlier, your projections is kind of the art of it, and running the numbers is the science, right? These are the numbers, but then where is this neighborhood going to be, in 5 or 10 years from now? And for those of you who have been listening to a lot of our podcasts, you're starting to see how it's all coming together, because we had a great podcast on how to pick the right market. We had a great podcast on, all of these different elements are all coming together here. And you're seeing how someone like Malcolm uses all of those different tactics that we teach to get a deal done. Now, when you have this pro forma that you're running, do you use like an Excel sheet to do something like that? What is a pro forma for someone who doesn't really know?
I use an Excel sheet. That's exactly what I use. And I've just created the pro forma over the years, and I just use it on assessing every single property, and it all has to go through that machine.
Gotcha. So you kind of have a Excel sheet you use, you plug all the numbers into.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know one of the, we're about to announce the winner of the free software here, by the way, but I know you were going to give away a free download, the 10 Habits of Successful Real Estate Investors. Can you tell me a little bit about this free gift? Oh, there you go.
There's my book. Okay. It's available on the website, so you can download it from the website. And the website is msilver.com.
Great. Yeah. And we'll have msilver.com. We'll have a link right at exactlyhow.com to take you there. Now, when someone goes through those 10 habits, what are they going to leave with after reading that?
I hope they're going to leave with the desire to go out and buy a building.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it.
Now, Malcolm, that's an awesome free gift, but I can already hear my members asking, the performer that you use, do you have a blank version of that you might be able to share?
I can create one for you. I can. Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Thank you so much. That's great. Malcolm's going to give you his performer he uses. We'll create an Excel sheet, maybe a Google Doc or something for you guys to go ahead and look at. And I think, Malcolm, if they have that, they read your book, go over this a few times, they're probably, getting on their way to being able to evaluate some of these commercial buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Thank you. Well, before we get into the next step here, which is actually buying it, and I'm excited about that, I now want to announce the winner of the Pre-MLS software. This software shows you every vacant property, every pre-foreclosure, every inherited property, the shadow inventory, the zombie properties, motivated for sale by owners, every type of investment property you can want, including commercial as well now. And it's all in a beautiful user interface that allows you to manage the whole process. And the winner of this week's free giveaway is Ann Vale. Ann, congratulations. You visited exactlyhow.com, threw your name into the hat, and we're going to get you all set up with the software. Congratulations, Ann. All right, Malcolm, let's talk about the third and final step, buying it. So you found it, you ran the numbers, it's great, it's time to buy it. Take me through your process on buying these properties.
Once I have assessed what I consider to be the right price for the property, I look at what they're asking, and then typically I will use an agent to make the offer, and the offer will be usually below what I consider it to be worth. And then you have to go backwards and forwards through the negotiation process.
So you give yourself a little bit of room. If you're willing to pay $500,000, your offer is $420 or something like that, so they can kind of come up.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's a great tip.
What happens? Yeah. So that's what I've done.
So if let me just ask you about that real quick. If you throw in a kind of a lower offer and they don't respond to the offer, how do you respond to a no response?
You ask them why have you responded, and they may say, well, the offer is ridiculously low. So then you say, well, what would you consider to be a fair offer? And you try and get out of them what it is that what they would really be prepared to accept, or what the terms are that they want. They may find that if you can offer them a very fast close, that'll make it more attractive if they're under pressure. So there's no magic to it. It's a bit of a backwards and forwards in negotiation. Sometimes you're able to deal with a seller that's reasonable, and sometimes you can't. sometimes. But typically you use the agent for that. It's I think it's good to meet sellers. It's not always good to meet buyers. And if you can't go and meet the seller, then it's a good thing to do to try and work out terms. And that's sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. Otherwise, you just have to go through the agent.
Yeah. When you're going through an agent, sometimes working out terms is challenging. In a previous episode we talked about all the different ways to structure creative deals when the seller says no, on how to still get the deal to the closing table on numbers that work for you. So you talked about buying it. How are you financing most of your acquisitions?
Typically, I'll go to either a bank or credit union, and I'll borrow between 60 and 70%, and then I'll have to put up the equity for the balance, for the 30 to 40%. And sometimes that equity I'll syndicate. So I'll put together a small group of investors, and we'll all contribute to the equity. I will always have some of my money in, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, great. So you got the bank putting up the bulk of the money, and then you go to other investors, they throw in, and you get the deal done.
Yep, that's the way.
Yeah. Malcolm, let me ask you a quick question here. What do you think your life would be like if you never made the leap into real estate?
I'd be miserable. I'd be thoroughly unhappy and unfulfilled, because this is what I really always wanted to do. So I'm living my dream. So I enjoy what I do.
Man, then that's so good to hear. If you didn't get into real estate, he would be miserable. But you made that leap. You did what you had to do. Any interesting? Yeah. I'd be miserable. That's my favorite answer out of everyone I've asked. I'd be miserable, just straight up. Any interesting stories from the film world? Did you finance anything big or fun?
No, it was mainly television or smaller films. Wasn't
Gotcha.
Nothing amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to jump into the rapid fire section of this podcast, where I'm just going to ask you a few questions and just let me know what comes to mind. You ready?
Okay. Sure.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
9.
All finance. Anyone who's in finance in any way always has the strictest parents. That's, yeah. It's almost 100% true. Yeah. Are you the type of guy who gets up early or stays up late?
No, I get up early.
What's your favorite or most recent book that you read?
I just read The Power Broker, the biography of Robert Moses. It was the key planner of New York, and from about 1930 to 1970. It's 1,100 pages. It's a remarkable book. It tells how he laid out everything, all the roads and parks and bridges of New York. He is a major builder of New York.
Nice. I love biographies, especially from that time period. That's a good one to throw on the list. If you could be any superhero, who would it be?
Warren Buffett.
That's my favorite answer right there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's everyone just says Superman, right? They hear superhero. Oh, Warren Buffett. I love it. What's something what's that?
Did I let you down?
No. You made my day with that answer. What is something that everyone should do less of?
Administration.
Something everyone should do more of?
Meet more people. Talk to more people.
Within your lifetime, do you think people will visit Mars?
No, not in my lifetime.
Bitcoin, bang or bust?
It'll ultimately be a bang. It will. Not just yet, but it's gonna come. The technology behind it is extraordinary, and that's going to be used. whether the coin will be a success, I don't know yet.
Yeah, blockchain is something exciting. And what year do you think the next recession will be?
Next year.
2020?
Yeah.
Man, we're getting a lot of people asking that question. A lot of people answering 2020 to that answer. As a, I don't want to end on that type of a low note, but as a real estate investor, are you excited about the next recession?
Yes.
There you go.
Bring opportunity with a capital O.
Great opportunity in any recession. Well, Malcolm, thank you so very much for taking the time to speak with me and all of our many, many listeners. We're really excited to have had this opportunity to talk with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. For everyone else here who is still listening, you made it to the end of the show, which means you finished what you start. Only 30% of people actually finish any podcast. So it means you found a lot of value here today. If you can just like this, tag someone you know, share this video, at least leave us a comment on what you learned or what you liked, or just say hello. We really thrive off your interaction. It gets us really excited to keep the shows coming. We have some amazing podcasts in the archive at exactlyhow.com, and we have some amazing podcasts coming. So I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Bye-bye.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.